I feel so happy, so happy, so happy. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me in this beautiful ascension exploration, expression, and experience that we're all having together. I thank you so much for tuning in and joining and sharing our videos, liking and subscribing. I always forget to say that. I get right in on my channeling and my drawing. I have some drawings today. And we're going to go through them. Today we're going to talk a little bit more. There was a couple of things that Commander Ashtar and Source Creator had channeled last class, or last video, about the changes that we're going to go through. The summertime is always a very powerful time for ascension energies. Those that know and understand the Lionsgate portal, the 8-8 portal, which has always been a very profound portal for us, where the planet sits galactically. Many of the galactic timelines, many of the threadings that we're renewing ourselves within the galactic stories, within the galactic soul's blueprint. So the summer is a very exciting time for us to reactivate ourselves, realign ourselves, recalibrate, allowing ourselves to take in the abundance of what we have sown, if you will, the springtime flourishment. So it's a time where we're meant to be feasting. We're meant to be honoring the seeds that we've sown. We're meant to be exploring new ways and new tables and new tribes to be feasting with. So it's a beautiful time of exploration with the amplified energies. So make no mistake about it. This summer will be another profound experience where all of these energies will be culminating to an even more profound 8-8 portal and gateway. So we're super, super excited. And just so that I wanted to say this, they're bringing this up to me, so I'm just going to say it. I had this discussion with somebody this week about various things that would go on in our galactic skies and our atmospheres, and the various leaders of various countries that behoove it upon themselves to release various testings of bombs and explosion devices in the waters as well as in space, because they feel as if it's in space, they can test it to see what occurs, figuring out what gets affected, what doesn't get affected. And of course, these beings that do such and create such have no idea of the ramifications of the damages that would be done galactically through the streamways and the portals, as we talked about last week, the various aspects of the interdimensional gateways and the threads that our celestial teams move in and about with their light ships. There are many portals, there's many gateways interdimensionally that all of the galaxy and all of the universe float within. So any 3D person of such low consciousness that thinks and would believe that nuclear war is sent off into the air to see what slipstream gets devoid, what doesn't get devoid, what is affected, what's not affected, ideas or agendas to separate Earth from the rest of the galaxy so it can be held under a dominion of control that is not of the divine plan. All of these certain types of agendas will announce itself in failure. As opposed to, there are alternate timelines in which we've been talking about the Epstein Earth, those that are primarily directed in darker soul energy explorations, and they will remain in the dark energies, they will remain in the dark realms, they will never move forward. And those would be the people that would experience those extinction Earths, as we've talked about, that Epstein Earth would replicate, would kind of emulate, would be that mirror reflection, and it would be that Epstein Earth, if you will, that would also do those types of experiments. Because again, the intention of any world leader would be preposterous to me on why anybody would be a world leader and do such things. To think anything of the such would be an idea that would benefit humanity, that would benefit creation. Anything that explodes and anything that tears apart timelines and tears apart quantum travel lines that are interdimensionally, that not only affect us but affect all of creation, you can tell just by those abhorrent, monumental, destructive ideas and concepts. Any world leader that thinks these things are a way of an agenda to separate the world from the rest of the Galactic Federation's light plans, the divine plan for divine humanity, the divine plan that is under the Divine Father's plan. These people want to separate Earth so it has ultimate control. These people are very obviously low conscious because they don't understand that the infinite threadings The infinite threadings that one planet has to its galaxy is monumentally profound. So again, those people that would think such things are just ways that they can create greater control and domination of a planet, they don't have any idea of the strings and the threads of light that are connected to Gaia or with Gaia for reasons that have been worked on for 1 billion years by beings and energies and consciousnesses in the galaxy, specifically for Gaia's ascension. So again, these people are very low vibrational. They have a very limited consciousness. They don't understand how their thoughts, words, and deeds, and their actions to do such horrible things would affect the ultimate intergalactic play, intergalactic travel, interdimensional travel. There's vibrations of sound, there's vibrations of slipstreams, if you will, that are worked on by consciousness beings of the seventh dimension and higher. And why also, too, there are the highest vibrational beings of the Celestial Council, the Galactic Federations, that they do have authority to ensure that such agendas of blowing off bombs in the air and in the atmosphere at certain levels or degrees to find out how it would react and if Earth would be kind of ripped away from its galactic gravitational pull with the rest of the galaxy. Whatever their agendas are, for any to do such a thing, you obviously understand that it's a malevolent agenda. And so world leaders that design and think of these things, they will be on that shifting out of what we've talked about as Epstein Earth, because they are the ones that want to explore destruction. They're the ones that want to explore devastation. They're the ones that want to explore taking humanity on a path of destruction, taking humanity on a path of extinction. The natural order of all life, the natural order of all creation, is inherently designed within its genius, within its intelligence, as just leaving it alone that you don't understand what you don't understand. A lower vibrational 3D egomaniac with nuclear weaponry to be detonated in space obviously has such a low consciousness, it doesn't and would not understand how a planet sits galactically. It does not understand how it would sit multiversally, and it does not understand that even such activations of such things in the air or in the waters and how it is affected to all of creation. So again, these beings are very, very low abhorrent consciousness. They are specifically looking to explore extinction and destruction. And they will be the ones that will be shifted out with Epstein Earth, because that's their intentions. Those vibrations magnetically connect and magnify that way. Any agenda that is of such, any agenda that is of separation, control, domination at its core, there are beings within the universe that have every right of authority to assure that those programs will not work and they will be sabotaged from the highest level of beings and the Divine Father's plan. Because a low vibrational 3D egomaniac, regardless of its money to create nuclear warheads, does not have the right to affect the multidimensional multiverse. They just don't. As arrogant and as ignorant as they may be, they don't. They don't have the right to destroy life when millions of years have been placed in correcting various slipstreams, have been correcting certain rips and tears, for instance, as a crucifixion of Jesus, and why it was so important that my life not be obliterated. Because these things do affect the multiverse. The threading of me is connected with the multiverse, so it would affect the multiverse. And those that would do such things, you can tell of the lowest consciousness because they don't have the ability to see because they're in darkness. Darkness does not allow them the ability to see what threadings and what magnitudes and what complementary layering that anyone's soul exists upon. And that soul is needed for those sparks of light to continue the evolutionary process multiversally. So there's very many checks and balances. There's beings that are specifically designed to stay as babysitters, if you will, for those egomaniacs that think that they can just detonate a nuclear bomb in the ocean just to see what happens and to see how it's going to be successful or not. And again, the intelligence of such beings, they should never be allowed to be in a leadership role. For monies, for such dangerous chemicals and dangerous repercussions and such dangerous consequences of these beings that call themselves leaders, they will be shifted out every new cycle that we're moving through ascension. And so thank God for that. as if life isn't challenging enough, but you have to have these leaders that think that detonating nuclear weaponry in the galaxy, above the atmosphere or in the oceans, is any good idea. And the repercussions of it are monumental to the interdimensional travel of all galactic beings. And this is why there will be always galactic beings that will be placed as babysitters with such world leaders that find themselves or think of themselves as God. And they are absolutely not. They're as ignorant as they come. And we hope that these people are moved out and shifted out because they don't have any grace with life. They don't have any grace or connection with spirit. They don't have any grace with the evolution of advancement of evolution. And we hope that they sit down as bullies in the playground and they learn how monumentally destructive their agendas and their behaviors are. And so as judgment is called, we're just letting you know that some of those programs are obviously always watched by the Galactic Federations because no 3D lower vibrational bully in the playground is going to affect interdimensional travel. And so there is caveats, of course, on certain types of intervention that the Galactic Federations will do. And those are those that play with nuclear warheads, those that play with nuclear programming, and those that play with, obliterating certain people that do have the effects on the multiverse. And there's no longer tolerance. There's no longer those actions and those agendas being allowed under any circumstances, as it doesn't matter what their title is. Those types of world leaders are not going to be the future of humanity. The only way these leaders that do have such agendas as warhead, and they're working into the billions of warhead trades, the warhead tradings, the games that they play with ammunition and bombs and all of those things, and trading it back and forth in the black market of anything that's a black market. You can tell it's going into the black energies, which will then shift off to Epstein Earth. But your intention, focus, and direction of your energy being on New Earth, creative, the highest creative timeline, would assist you in aligning with that. But Commander Asher just wanted me to place those caveats that there is always intergalactic and multidimensional, the highest of the heavens babysitters on such leaders that think of themselves as God, play themselves as, rulers of the earth and all people. And those agendas, any agenda to rip and tear humanity out of its galactic alignment, you can tell the level of ignorance. They have no idea the infinite threadings of life that Gaia requires for her to maintain her existence. And again, the ignorance of such propositions. You can tell where certain people that would have such agendas and even go to create and waste money to create such nuclear warheads to release into the sky and atmosphere, they will be met with demise, and their processes will not work because they don't have the right to affect other people in the multiverse, and that's God's hand on that. So thank goodness for that. So there are that just gives you heart, and that gives you promise that there is always caveats on how and why universal intervention is had. The universal intervention did have to come in for the lifting of me and the pulling of me up from the various programs where they were wanting me to stay down in the lower realms, serving their enslavement, which is basically what it was. Trafficking is enslavement. Harvesting is enslavement. All of these practices were mirrored of the galactic wars. And because of my timeline and my lineage that we've been working eons to lift and clear away and bring balance and harmony so that all can build a bridge to not impede on each other's lineages on the way that each lineage chooses to learn and grow. If you choose to be a part of say a polygamous timeline, if you choose to be a part of a polygamy timeline, if you choose to be a part of whatever timeline it is, black occultism, that's fine, but you don't manipulate and you don't thwart and you don't abuse universal laws and spiritual order, and you don't manipulate and force and enforce and do mind control on people, hoping that they're going to come over to your cult and come in so you can continue having them as your energy source so that you manifest, but they sit as your slaves. And there are people that live like this. My ex and their cult, that's exactly what they did. They manipulated energies, they manipulated stories. They were very, very good at it. They were very good at mental manipulation. They were very good at manipulating stories. They were very good at manipulating truths. They each had a job that they had to do, and each of them did it with vision, and they would do certain things like romance schemes and all of these things that would lure vulnerable people, lure the unsuspecting people, that people actually sit around and they think about the dark occult scams and schemes that they can pull to manipulate truth and manipulate natural order. So we wanted to bring a part of, we're going to be becoming more and more in tune with what is natural order. And natural order is in alignment with the highest divine order, meaning that leave all alone, leave everything alone, leave life alone, and just honor it and respect it. How you're intending and directing your energy just to honor life and have it move within its own natural order. Everything in creation is moving through ascension. The forests are moving through ascension, the waters are moving through ascension. It's not up to us to pour a whole bunch of chemicals in the air for us to block out the sun, thinking that it's going to slow down the melting of the ice caps when we're actually doing detriment on both sides. Because again, these leaders are low consciousness. They have no idea about the consciousness intelligence of the planet. They don't have any idea about the consciousness planet of those around the planet that are assisting us move through ascension. They don't have any idea what consciousness is. And as we become higher in consciousness, we do create a lighter footprint on the planet. We do come up with higher creative inventiveness to reduce the emissions, to reduce the garbage emissions. The garbage emissions are probably one of the highest pollutants for the atmospheric changes. And with Ascension, I implore all world leaders that do watch my channel, because you know you do, all world leaders, Lee Carroll that channels Cryon, he has done these channels since probably 1987 with regards to Gaia and the wobble and her increasing temperatures and the changes of temperatures and weathers in direct relationship to what this topic we're talking about. The process of ascension is a planetary, galactic, multiversal experience, and it's not something that anybody can stop with chemtrails blocking out the sun, thinking that you're going to reduce and slow down, and you're not. It's actually just putting more chemicals in the air that we now have to fix another problem. So again, consciousness is everything. When we tap in and we tune in with the alignment of who we are, spirit, in of as spirit, the more that we recreate that alignment and that relationship with spirit, the sacred trinity, a lot of our world global issues will be simultaneously altered in its core order. As a consciousness collective, and as each and every one of you choose each day to be consciously awake, to be consciously heart-centered, to be consciously choosing higher vibrational options and choices, you automatically change the energy of Gaia. You automatically change her constituents, the omni-bedding that she sits within. Therefore, thus then, on a planet where we would never have any so-called leaders, it blows my mind how anybody could call themselves a leader and do destructive agendas and nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is one of the most destructive energies for the interdimensional travel in and out of slipstreams that multidimensional beings have for us to move as we can move in our higher consciousness states. We can do and be anything in higher consciousness states. Consciousness is everything, the higher self. Through the higher self, anything and all things are possible. But where these leaders and where low consciousness sits, it's about control and domination. And those are, again, mirrored energies from the galactic wars. But we have to use discernment in our awakening. Anything that speaks of such control and domination and ripping the planet away from the rest of the galaxy so it can maintain its own otherworldly world order, domination, and whoever wants to think they're going to be dominating the world, and they're not. But they would, in their respect of their energy and their vibration, there is nothing to say because all things are possible. And Source will give these people their opportunities to explore it, but it won't be the vibration you're on. They will give these people of such dark egomaniac control and domination, those that choose to lure children into trafficking and lure children into being weaponized, and the many tribes that are in Africa where they're grooming children at 6 and 7 years old to be war mongers. And these children at such young ages are out killing for these disgusting people that think they're creating mafia control ways to manifest their way of righteousness on the planet. There's so many very wounded people that are having their last play, if you will. And those that refuse to awaken, because you can only do so much of your 51% of your clearing for your movement into eternal life, there's going to be many, many shifts where these shifts will have certain sects of the population that are just so far gone. They will experience their version of Epstein Earth, where we talked about the 3 E's equals a 4th E. Their 3 E's on the dark side would be the extinction factor and Epstein Earth, and they would experience that, and they would explore the dark aspects, they would express the dark aspects, therefore they would go into extinction. And then those energies would just go back to Source, because Source is ultimately held within all things, and it's their free will, and there's certain things within the galaxy that is and is not allowed because of its effect on everything else. But they will, in and of effect, in their own unique soul's experience similar, and that's up to that soul. It's not up to us to discern that, but I'm just giving you examples. Those that are very dark and those that are very refusing to come out of that domination and control because they just have no connection with any of their chakras, they have no connection with spirit, they have no connection with life, they don't have any connection with Gaia, they don't have any connection with higher consciousness at all, and the infinite threads that Gaia sits within, the omnipresent of her light. Gaia's ascension has been planned for a millennia. Gaia's ascension has been worked on by many wonderful beings of the highest up to the 13th dimension. There's no low vibrational 3D person that is so demented in their brain to think that they're going to send off nuclear things into the atmosphere or into the oceans and think that they're going to play Dominator God, or Zeus over anybody. So it's, again, but they will, in and of effect, they will manifest themselves out, and they will have their own Epstein-like experience. And their Epstein-like experience is just completely devoid and detached of all that is spirit and conscience. Because they're that far gone, they've chosen in this path to play that role of darkness, to play that role of disconnection of all life, to play disconnection of all that is sacred, of all that is natural order. And again, if you're a leader, why would leaders be in a leadership role? If they have no connection with life and sacredness, and this is where we're all waking up. This is a world of billions of people on a jewel of a planet in the middle of a galaxy of infinite possibilities. As you awaken to the sacredness of who you are, and you're more and more aligning to your higher self, why would we have on our planet chosen world leaders where we have normalized such discussions, and for leaders to even have such discussions and even ideas for this to even be a thing? That's how low the consciousness was. But for us to now awaken to it and say, that's absolutely ridiculous. The more people that awaken in higher consciousness and say, I think we're going to allow natural order. We understand source creator. We understand that everything is in equal measure. The more love and the more energy and the more divine trust and the honoring and surrendering we have in natural order, the more trust that we have in ourselves as divine light beings, the more trust that we have in ourselves of the 3 E's and the 3 A's, and honoring and understanding who we are, what we exist with, and what's going on within us. The more you trust this natural order of the bedding of what is just natural evolution, you let go of all of these controlling, dominating, cloning, harvesting, raping, trafficking. Those are all domination and control. They're all fear-based. It's all fear-based. They're all mirrors of various galactic wars and various times where we were in enslavement. And we were in subjugation, and we were in discrimination, and we were in all of those dichotomies of power over others, and then reclaiming that power of thyself, which is reclaiming the sovereignty of who you are, which is reclaiming choice. Because there is nothing more important than your free will. Now, spirit and source creator will allow them a certain level of destruction because that is what their soul has wanted, but they will not be allowed to destroy in their entire planet. That individual person or that soul might have in and of itself, they might have an experience where they're manifesting destruction for others, but source will manifest it in such a way that it will only seem to its own person. It won't manifest it to others, but it will in and of itself think it's manifested it for us. So there's various things, there's infinite conclusions, but we just wanted to have those certain caveats because as people are awakening to consciousness, every person, every human has a unique level of consciousness, as we talked about. Every person has a unique level of their DNA that they've activated, which means that if they're a very low consciousness and they're very primordial, these people should not be in leadership positions. They don't have any connection with the earth. They don't have any connection with Gaia and her needs and her consciousness. They don't have any connection with why are we pumping billions of tons of chemicals in the air when they're not understanding consciousness on any level. They don't understand that Gaia is sorting out the energies, and there's beings in our galaxy that are assisting her sort out the energies as we raise in our consciousness as a collective and as each and every individual. that the solar flares and all of those things that assist us in shifting the temperatures that are directly related to our consciousness levels, there is going to be temperature changes and shifts in our winters and in our summers. So we do have to walk differently on our planet. So again, I ask you to go to Cryon. He's done so many videos on understanding Gaia and her very earliest recordings of temperatures in the natural order of her moving through ascension. Because many of these weather and topography people that have been tracking so far temperatures, they haven't done it as far back as what Cryon, who is the channel, right? Cryon is the being that channels for Gaia's histories of her ascension. And she's had these cycles before where it's been very cold and then it's been very warm. She is a planet within the galaxy in the multiverse that is moving through ascension. Of course, she's going to have cycles. But of course, if you're in lower consciousness, just as we've given you the ideas many times, if you're in lower consciousness and you're looking through a telescope into the sky, that 3D person is only going to see the stars that 3D person has told itself it can see, because it has its limited perspectives and beliefs about what's actually in the sky. Somebody that is 5D and has an open consciousness and just allows creation to unfold before it, because all is omnipresent, all is source, you're allowing yourself to release older beliefs and perspectives. You have a wider scope of perspective, which means you have a wider scope of what's there. So you will naturally see consciousness is directly related to what your eyes can see. And why we do have a third eye, because that third eye assists you in helping the normal human eyes see. And of course, and again, it's not the eyes that see, it's the actual brain. It's the tools and the mechanisms in the brain. And then again, that brain is only the tool for the consciousness. Consciousness is everything. So how we've been thinking about ourselves and who we are and what we exist within, even if we look at the brain as a tool in and of itself, in our 3D way of thinking, there are those in our collective that have no consciousness higher than the fact that our brain is the only tool we have to have memory. There's many people on the planet that do not understand that a memory sits in your field of consciousness, so that is. And I can prove that. If there is somebody sitting before me that I've never met before, I never met this person, they're a human being and they have an infinite soul record and they've been in infinite planets and infinite bodies in infinite ways. And they sit before me and I have never met them and I've never known them. That person can sit before me and I'm reading the energy. I'm not doing anything with that person's brain. But that person can offer a vibration. It's like a little dot. That person can offer a vibration and I'm reading that experience. That experience might have been a trauma, say back in the Orion Wars. And I can read that experience. I'm not reading it in the person's brain. It's not in the person's brain that I'm going to that tool. I'm not going to the tool of the brain. There are occasions, if there are those before me, like I said, there's certain people that come before me and I do see dark shadows that are on the brain itself. But if I'm shown that, that means that there's degradation in the brain. And that's when the brain does show itself to me. Because that's a healing. And then I say, you might want to go get yourself checked or do an early Alzheimer's test, go and have your assessments done, because there is a shadow there. There is degradation there. And that's just me as a healer letting them know. But that has nothing to do with memory. But there are billions of people on the planet. If you ask them, where do we pull memories from? Memories are in your consciousness. Consciousness is everything. Consciousness is the omnipresent of source. And therefore, I can also offer you, we were practicing last time, closing your eyes. Do you have toes on your feet and hands? We're wanting you to connect with the unseen, wanting to connect with your body, wanting to connect with molding and creating consciousness, creating expansiveness, creating ideologies, creating what is the unseen. If you were to sit in your practice with your teams and practice your gifts, the skills, your talents, clairsentience, we're going to go over those again today because we want you to keep practicing your extrasensory gifts. If you were to have a being and you were going to call in a Pleiadian, you've never met that Pleiadian before, but that Pleiadian wants to align with you because that Pleiadian is also there to say, hey, I want to play with somebody on Earth. You both are at a vibrating connection where you're open, wanting to connect with Pleiadians, and this Pleiadian wants to connect with you. They are in your soul family ready to connect with you. So that is an alignment. That's a vibrational alignment. That's a magnetic alignment. You two are magnetically aligned, and the higher self says, Sure, let's open this up. They want to practice. There's 2 vibrational alignments. There's lots of dots here, lots of energies within the galaxy, lots of energies within the multiverse. But these 2 happen to be in the alignment of wanting to connect with each other, wanting to explore and express and experience one another. So your higher self aligns it. You sit in meditation and you say, I'd like to call forward a Pleiadian person so that I can come and, have a co-creation with you. I want to know what it's like to channel and to talk with telepathically a Pleiadian. This Pleiadian can sit and say, wonderful, wonderful. So this Pleiadian is sitting on the Pleiades, and you're having a telepathic communication. You're having an energetic communication that are light years away from each other. You don't have to get in a light ship and you don't have to travel all the way there to have a conversation. You're doing it telepathically. Now, is that communication, and this Pleiades offers you, this Pleiades sends you a projection, this Pleiades offers you a version, and because you say, well, what does your planet look like? What are you doing? So the Pleiadian would sit there and say, I'm sitting out in nature, and this is what it looks like. So this person, this being would send telepathically the imprint. They're called imprints and projections. These, and of course, the higher vibrational beings, they do projections and imprints benevolently. The people that I've come from and the lower vibrational people we've just kept talking about, control, domination, and fear, they operate from fear. They work with projections and imprints very negatively. They use them as cloaking mechanisms. They use them as manipulation mechanisms. They use them within the MK Ultra programs. They use them to warp and thwart the brain and what you perceive and your ideas and how you perceive other people and how you perceive stories and how you perceive truth. So they do these things in a negative, malevolent way because they want to control the outcome. So there are various ways that these things that energy can be used. It's either can be used negatively, neutrally, or positively. In the dark occult practices, they will use imprints and projections in a very negative way. So we have to understand and wake ourselves up and be discerning on who and how you're around and who and how they are using energy, because they'll come off as if they're a friend and they're supporting you, but all they're really doing is masking a projection, or they're masking what they really feel inside. They're just wanting to talk with you to see what your ideas are next, so they can go and take it to their coven leader, and they can do it in a negative manner. That was done with me for years. Those people like my ex that said that they were all in support of me and they all cared for me and all these things, and they were just using me and harvesting my energy and my ideas and taking it to a negative witch warlock coven person to manifest, they were just doppelganger thieves. All of them are guilty. Every single one of them, all 50 of them are guilty. None of them have less guilt than the other person. They all knew what they were doing in manipulating and cloaking and using imprints negatively and using mental mind scraping negatively, mental projections negatively. All these people knew exactly what they were doing. They all plotted and schemed. They all planned how you use energy and how you manipulate it. It's a very specific, precise way of manipulating mentally, spiritually, emotionally. They don't want me to talk about it, and I'm gonna. I know what I'm talking about, and I'm calling each and every one of you out. The witches and the warlocks and the cults and covens and the warped masons and the government agendas that work with MK Ultra, mind scraping, mental projections, and mental warping. They warp the mental capabilities, and it does absolutely do dangers, as we're seeing. Those people that are already not balanced, those people that are already not doing their soul integrations, those people that are already mentally degraded. This is what these people don't understand. As I've said in many of my videos, go back, I've said it in my videos for the last 4 years. If you have somebody in your collective and these people were being used and these people were quite vulnerable because they didn't have a lot of sense of self, the government programs were choosing certain people because they looked vulnerable and they could use these people in certain programs, the MK Ultra, if you will. People that were being used had a very easy sway of who they were. So they could go explore anything, and they really didn't care. They didn't have a sense of self. They didn't have that higher moral ground, right? And we're finding that a lot with various dogmas where you're giving your power away to other things, and it's not really who they are, but they want to belong so badly that they're just going to give all their power away to belong to a certain dogma that they don't even believe in. So this is where a lot of the dogma pulls out and it rips out and it tears apart and it rips away your absolute creative sovereignty. So now we're learning how to reclaim it and rebuild your sense of sovereignty. So this person here has a vulnerable sense of self. They don't know who they are. They're kind of wishy-washy. They're back and forth. They like to follow people. They're giving their power away. They want to join little cults and covens that do really horrible things, and they think they're really good and they think they're really clout chasing. But what this person doesn't know in these directive of governments and officials that are actually paying these cults and covens, they don't know that this person might have a mental degradation and they're entering in early Alzheimer's. Not only are they entering early Alzheimer's, but they didn't do any soul integration healing. They're not integrating any of their soul fragments. They're not integrating any of their soul fragments that are the 51% that have to maintain a balance of the median, the natural order. So on a planet that's going through ascension, anyone that is not meeting the median within themselves, oscillating to keep up with the median ascension energies within the planetary galaxy, because we are going to keep ascending, we are going to keep creating light. These people in these covenants, again, we're just talking about low consciousness and how to discern and why we need to wake up and have higher light wisdom. Because it's dangerous. And these people in these higher official positions, these leaderships, these world leaders that think that they're creating these agendas for control and dominance and all of the, whatever their reasons are for creating malevolent agendas. It's illegal. It's not going to be tolerated any longer. And I'm telling you that I've been telling you for 3 or 4 years. I go back in my videos. I've said these things numerous times. Anybody that does such degradation experiences, human testing, human programming, human mind scraping, mental projections, mental brainwashing, all of these things, there is no agenda, there is no law, there is no rule, there is no principle in the spiritual order or in human laws that will allow anybody to do such to anyone that is not agreed to be a part of that program. If there is no signatures, no government, no anybody has any right to do it. They don't have any right to do weather manipulation. They don't have any right to do chemical manipulation. They don't have any right to do human testing, human targeting. They don't have any right to pick out vulnerable people and then use them to be weaponized to be the handlers of other light workers and starseeds and to go search out starseeds and stalk starseeds. And these agendas are so egregious and they're so disgusting. There is no law. There is no spiritual law. There's no spiritual higher order. There is no natural order in any of it. It is pure, ugly Hunger Games in the most vile of experiences, and it is pure extinction. The intention is to take out, warp, thwart, and turn into weapons of destruction and danger. If we're talking about this one person, and this person has not been doing the healing, this person has not been doing their soul integration, they have not been doing their 51% of their daily pathwork, they're not pulling in those integrations, they're not doing the pathwork, they're not healing, they've chosen not to heal. This person that is already working in a mental degradation, if we're taking in my past, that is exactly what had happened. I had given access to a reading that I had given, and I said, I do see a cloud on the brain. You need to go get it assessed. This is what Spirit is showing me that is going on. And if you practice dark occult, if you practice dark magic, if you practice black magic, if you practice voodoo, if you practice mind scraping, if you practice chanting and conjuring, which is all about forcing energy, forcing chanting, forcing outcome, you are absolutely pressing on so much darkness in your mental tissue, in your vibrational tissues, in your fields, in your auras. It is absolutely going against natural order on every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in all that you are as a multi-vibrational spirited version of a being. You're forcing everything to go into that one direction of your want and need because you must dominate and control outcome. So you're affecting your cells, you're affecting the brain, you're affecting everything because you just want your outcome. You just want it. That's your outcome. You have to have your outcome or else. So you're not healed. You're a very sick person. But I told everybody this. So now these leaders and the stuff are saying, well, we just wanted to pick people to see if we can, move this program and we could do some research and we can see what the results are. Well, they're using innocent humans for negative, malevolent experiences and ripping apart families and ripping apart human rights, the very laws and the very basis that we're able to walk on our planet very freely, but we're not really free. Many have been used and abused in these programs and agendas, and they end up getting caught in these cults and covens, and it's such a mess because they're now all blackmailing each other and they're trying to scapegoat each other to see who's going to be left for the sacrificing table. Because they've all chosen to explore those dark energies, which is fine. They chose to do that. They still have to serve their karma because they chose to still, at the end of the day, they chose to enforce, they chose to degrade, they chose to manipulate, they chose to lie, they chose to do fraudulent activity and steal and theft. They wanted to destiny swap how many times and sacrifice how many times. So they're all as guilty. But the point I wanted to make is if we're not having light wisdoms to let the entire collective know about who are we, what do we exist in, what's going on within us, How do you reclaim your light? How do you protect your fields? How do you work as a sovereign being where you're not being manipulated and taken over to these really manipulative contracts or agendas or agreements or cults or covens or luring romance schemes and all of the things that go on when people want to play in the dark because they have a shadow they got to heal with and they got to deal. But because we're not talking about it in the collective, because we're not talking about soul fragment healing, these government people, and of course, it's not rocket science. The agendas that go and look for vulnerable people to practice on, those of the government agendas that go to look for starseeds that they want to start stalking and studying and start putting obstacles in front of and start making their life as hellish as possible to see how truly, really awesome they are and how ultra human they are. Let's just impale them with so many obstacles. Let's impale them with so many handlers. Let's impale them with so much magic. Let's just see how ultra human these people are. Again, it's disgusting and vile and egregious and against all laws in every way. Nothing on any of those agendas would ever be legal on any level. So these so-called officials are using these vulnerable people, but these officials, none of these officials know that this person is entering into early Alzheimer's. So anything that these people do as far as mental projections, mental mind scraping, brainwashing, mental projections of death and demonic energies, or another part of the MK Ultra program was them projecting gay and bisexual relations. So they would lure these people into exploring gay and sexual interrelations, even though you, if as a person, you didn't have any, like that's why they couldn't get me to sway my side of who I was going to be with sexually. That was one of their agendas. Because that's the Epstein, right? Epstein was trying to take your sense of self away from you, trying to rip that sense of moralistic and integrous values out of you. You know, the moralistic straight and narrow, you just know who you are. Whereas these agendas are like, no, let's see if we can detach and just deconstruct all that they are and see if we can play with them as much as possible. And then we'll do our studying. And there's lots of mad scientists in the Epstein agendas and the government agendas and these government programs to see how much they can deconstruct a human. There are those of us that weren't able to be deconstructed. I'm one of the very few and rare. This is why it has to be talked about. We have to bring higher light wisdom teachings to the forefront. Because now that the world and the globe is now saturated with so many secret societies and so many cults that are misguided, that are misinformed, they don't understand natural order. They're so disconnected from the natural order of our planet, of natural order of our flow of energy, the natural order of ascension, the natural order of how our sun is so important, how our moon is so important, how our waters are so important. They don't understand the actual integration and connection that all of our celestial families have with us, that are assisting us in learning about a lighter footprint on our planet, about helping us heal the garbage emissions, helping us heal all of the emissions and the damages that we've done by being disconnected. So anyways, these agendas have been luring the vulnerable people in, but these people have no idea that this person is just entering into early Alzheimer's. So anything that this person does in that agenda is even far more dangerous. Because this person is doing everything it can to move through a normal ascension energy, even though it's not doing its integration, because we know that when you do your integration and you're doing your healing, every cycle of ascension gets easier and you're becoming more balanced because you know how to deal with your shadow. You know how to deal with those things that are coming up. You deal with it, you face it, you put it on the table and you transmute it. But if this person is not doing any transmuting, and they're also in those cults and covens that are impaling dark magic and voodoo magic and root magic and blood magic, those are, the harsher, heavier ones. These people are so fucked up in their mental bind, they don't know what's coming to what's going. It's very, very dangerous. And I've been telling the leaders this for 3 years. These leaders, and this is why God had me say that channel that I've said on my channel, go back and look at my channel, go back and pull out all my channels, print them off, and their dates on them. And it's copywritten. Any leader that has been doing what they've been doing, because they're not high intelligence, because they're not seers, because they're not conduits, because they're not doing their due diligence, they don't give a fuck. They don't know that this person is entering early Alzheimer's, and anything that they do within that program, that Project Stargate, they have no idea. They have just messed with the entire soul of that person. It's also this person's responsibility because it took on some sort of an ownership of a choice to be involved in this type of a play as a reflection for everybody else to say, no, I'm going to reclaim my sovereignty. You're not touching me. I don't want to be a part of your coven. It doesn't matter how many mind projections you send me, because they were also very powerful warlocks. But when I say no, it means no. I don't want to be a part of your coven. I don't want to have any part of connection with you. I don't want to play with you. I don't want to build with you. I don't want to create with you. That is my statement as of right now to everybody in Calgary. So don't bother stepping towards me. There is no unfinished business. Our business was finished 3 years ago. There's no unfinished business. Business is finished. If anything has to be said, it has to go through the lawyers because everything has been criminal. There is nobody in Calgary I would ever want to do business with, ever. We are not friends. There's no way that I would ever be friends with people that do 1,600 rituals and hexes and curses on me so that everybody else can walk away with stuff and things and safety and be lazy and work off the light and the power and the energy of others. We're not friends. Everybody's forgiven, but I would never, ever assist you, give to you, help you. God has told me specifically, God has removed each and every one of you so that each and every one of you can go through your karma and sit exactly where you need to sit vibrationally and look at what you've created. Because you need to see, do I want to play in these games of mind manipulation, of mind control and clout chasing and doing your next scheme and trying to pull other people into your schemes and trying to pull other people into your magic and pull people into your outcome? And who can you get to send to them now? Anything that you do that you think you're going to do to me to pull me in or look for another light worker to pull them in, you will always meet your demise because it's time for you to sit down and sit in your karma, feel your karma, go through your karma and do your alchemy. You will not be released from your karma. You have to sit in it. You have to sit in it. So anything that any of these people do to try and get another light worker involved, to try and get someone that's got energy, to try and get me back, they're still trying to pull me back into their schemes, still trying to play the same schemes, still trying to play the same plots. It will never work. God has removed you. There is no access that anybody from the 50 of Calgary and everybody involved all the way up to the top, you will never manifest with me ever again. You will never touch my spirit or my soul ever again. There has been caveats and veils and intervention on the highest levels and highest degrees. Everybody has to sit in their karma. You have to sit and you have to know the choices that you have made, not reclaiming your power, not doing the ascension work, not choosing to choose your choice instead of another's. Anytime that you choose dark occult practices, cult and coven practices, scheming, plotting, scamming to see if you can get somebody else's money that's not yours, that never was yours, that was never ever yours to touch. But these people, because of their mental degradation, they actually think that they are entitled to you. Because on other timelines in the galaxy, there were enslavement programs and there were enslavement timelines. But that's not this timeline. This timeline, there is no more enslavement. There is no more subjugation. I do have my rights. I'm going to stand in my rights. Nobody's going to touch me. Nobody's going to harvest me. Nobody's going to rape me. Nobody's going to use me. Nobody's going to take my work and say it's theirs. And all of these coven people and all of these corrupt people that have been living and manifesting off my energy and testing me and studying me and following me and throwing obstacles at me and throwing more cult and coven people at me and throwing diseased people at me to see if I'm going to have sex with them. All of these same low vibrational patterns of darkness, the same pattern of slow dagger, the same pattern of sabotage, the same pattern of stupidity, the same pattern of let's see if we can take her out and make her one of us, the same pattern of come and let's slave her, that whatever their disgusting, vile agendas are and why, it is nothing but danger. It is nothing but abhorrent. I'm going to intervene and say, this has gotten far too out of hand. It has gotten far too incredibly messy legally. The amount of people that have been brought in to see how anybody that these people are refusing to let me go and to say that you're not going to sacrifice me. You're never, ever going to touch me. That's been made very clear to everybody on the planet. And the more that you do your little plans, plots, and schemes, you are sealing the fate and you are nailing your own coffin and you will never come out of the darkness that will be your hell. That's including the government people that have used innocent people to do your MK Ultra testing, to your MK Ultra mind projections, and to send them and pay these cult and coven people to come and attack a light worker that didn't have anything to do with any of you, besides an ex that was left 6 years ago. I don't have anything to do with any of these people. I don't know any of these people, but they've known me since the day I was born, and they've continued to throw lies and degradation and manipulations and cults and covens and obstacles, and they know how to hack my computers, they know how to hack my emails, they know how to hack everything. So they have all military style hacking and military style 50 people involved. Every 50 of those people will be equally guilty, and those are the karmas that I'm making judgment on. Every person involved, I don't care what your role was. If it was making a piece of paper, it was making a false document, it was lying in court to make those false people, their stories rhyme, whatever it was, your part and your agenda, whatever you played, you took money, you knew exactly what you were doing, you falsified court documents, you knew what you were doing in the bribers, you knew what you were doing in making these egregious things that are not natural order, that are not benevolent, that are not lifting humanity, that is not peace and unity and love. You all know what you're doing. It's not rocket science, do unto fucking others, but you don't. Each and every one of you 50, each and every one of you, including the ones that came to me as fake-ass clients, wasting my time, wasting my energy, wasting my benevolence, wasting my energy that I put into you as a healer while you threw demons in my class. Every single one of you are guilty. Every single one of you are guilty. You knew exactly what you were doing. I was involved and I heard and I had audio, clairaudience. And I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to talk about every one of your crimes. Because you're not going to fool humanity any longer. You're not going to fool the light workers, and starseeds are not going to be used by any government project or agenda. Starseeds are sovereign. We're reclaiming our power. Get your own light. Get your own sandwich. I heard many of the cults and the covens having their little kitchen meetings, and they were plotting and planning, 3 or 4 of them around the table at a time, plotting and planning their next attack on me. Plotting and planning who's going to go in, how are they going to go in, how are they going to come and connect with me, how are they going to come and seek me, how are they going to come and try and fool me, how are they going to come and try and manipulate me, who's going to email them, who's going to send out a fake email, who's going to send out a fake email to her clients because they hacked into my email system. So much sabotage, so many illegal crimes, so much illegal bullshit that was done to destroy my life. Send me pain and suffering and trauma every day, pain and suffering and frustration and anxiety, loss of clients, loss of everything. And these people did it on a systematic experience. They're systematic abusers. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly who to pay. They know exactly who to call. These people are 100% guilty, each and every one. They all knew what they were doing. You don't sit at a table and plan somebody's destruction and then come away and say, oops, I didn't know what we were doing. I don't know, I'm innocent. I was just going by what somebody else said. No, you sat at the table and you planned. You sat at the table and you plotted. You sat at the table, and for years and years and years, I sat with absolutely nothing homelessness while you all planned and plotted my demise. I heard the kitchen meetings. I heard your little plots and plans, and I get the little fake-ass phone calls. You think you're fooling people and you think nobody knows what you do. You're absolutely seen because you're dark, dark, dark. And all dark schemes, plots and plans, whether it's a nuclear thing going off in the air or in the water, or little dumbass human agendas where you're going to see who can become a weapon and who can't, none of these are natural order benevolence. And how dare anybody call themselves a leader or an official? Where you take oaths for the highest level to ensure that every human walks on this planet safely. Every human walks on the planet safely. They have a right to who they are, in full expression, in full experience, in full exploration. And you have no idea that anybody you're pulling into your agendas is starting a degradation, because not only have they had a warped path, not only did they have abuses, not only are they not healing their abuses, not only are they not integrating their abuses, but now they're going into a voodoo and occult club where they're doing black magic and voodoo every day. So how's that okay? And you're not seeing the problem with this. You're not seeing the dangerous elixir with this. And yet the world leaders, and yet the churches and all the covens and all the cults and all the voodooists and all the Satanists, they don't see any, they're still trying to send the blocks and the hurdles to have me never have my stuff in the collective. Okay, so then everybody keep doing what you're doing, and you're gonna go right back on your Epstein earth shifting out. Because you are intending for the extinction, because I'm showing you right here, right now. I'm giving you a plethora of experiences where these things are actually occurring, and these people are actually going through these experiences. They're actually happening. So how can you say that what you're doing is not extinction and is not of the degradation of humanity? I'm proving it. If we were in court, I would say you're guilty. This is in court. We are in court right now. We are in session right now. I belong to the higher spiritual courts. I am higher order. This is court. Court is in session now, humanity. Cults and covens and governments that are arranging these human hunger programs. And you are luring children. You are studying starseeds. You are attacking starseeds. You are siphoning starseeds. You are harvesting starseeds. I am showing you the dangers of what is unfolding right now in every cult and coven. Anybody that is going through a mental imbalance that is not doing the healing, they are dangerous. And I've been telling you this for 6 years. I've told everybody this. I have emails and I have dates. I've been telling people this. We are in court. You are all guilty. Every one of my YouTube platforms has been stating so. And if so, the governments and the leaders and the officiates and those who call themselves for the people, I say BS. Nobody that creates a nuclear bomb, nobody that creates a human MK Ultra agenda and lures in people where they have not done a full exploration of this person's mental status. You have no idea who these people are and what they're going through. You have no idea that this next soul fragment is going to be a real doozy. There's no way that they can go through this dark night of the soul, plus your MK Ultra voodoo. Are you kidding me? We are absolutely putting humanity in the highest levels of danger, and nobody gives a crap. I'm saying in court right now, I am a judge of the highest heavens, and I'm calling judgment on every one of these people, all the way up to the highest 50, every 50 person that was involved, and everybody that has ever touched my name. Anybody that is involved in these cults and covens and snuff videos, any person that's involved in the black web undergame where this is a game to you and you're bidding and you're betting on people, you're bidding and you're betting on who's going to do the next harm, who's going to do the next scheme, plot, and plan. I guarantee you, as of right now, this is our court in session, and you are found guilty on all charges of malice, of intent to harm, of intent to kill, of intent to destroy somebody's soul path where you had no right to. You're guilty, guilty as charged. Watch the charges unfold, because everybody was told 3 years ago, everybody had 3 years to make things right. And they kept plotting and planning, and they kept doing harmful, egregious things where they knew in the bottom of their hearts, it's either a good for goodwill or you're either doing things in destruction. It's not rocket science. Remember the infinity. It's either a negative, it's a neutral, or it's positive. What part of you on that infinity are you? Thought, word, and deed, where are you on that infinity? We are in court right now. This is courtroom, people. This is courtroom. The highest of the 50, the very top dogs, you are in court right now. Thought, word, and deed, draw out the infinity. When you're luring people in and you're saying you're going to give this person money to go and do a hit on this light worker, on this very angel right here, tell me on that, draw out the infinity, put a negative on one side, a neutral in the middle, a positive on the other, and don't tell me that it wasn't intentional. Bullshit. Guilty as charged. We're in court right now. This is how it's going to go. That is my ranking. We're not going to settle, because everybody on this planet needs to understand. When you play with the dark occult and you don't have the intelligence to understand universal laws, this is exactly what you're going to face in court, and I will face you. And I will read your soul. I will read every deed that your soul has done, and Anubis stands behind me. And if those scales aren't balanced, you will not go forward, and you will be guilty as charged. There is no impact on any global human organization, be it government, be it military. There is nothing that states in any hierarchy that you have the right to test on any human that you've never had an agreement with, you've never had signatures for, you've never had a discussion with, you've never had them permissions, you've never had anything to do with this human, but you test on them and you study them and you watch them and you stalk them. And you spy on them and you hack their computers. And then you send groups of minions and little cults and people to do sabotaging work and black magic and voodoo. And then you have them mess with their finances. So this person just sits homeless all by themselves, just working with God. Thank God I know how to work with God. Thank God I know what I'm doing. Thank God my 51% is just about all done. Because without my work, without my knowing what's going on, when I told this person you need to go get assessed 6 years ago, all of these people doing their voodoo, all these people doing their manipulation, all these people doing their black magic, they don't give a crap about this person. I did. I said, you better go get your brain checked. And I said, if you keep doing your black magic, it's going to end up horribly. And what's happening right now? My exact predictions. So I ask you one more time, world leaders, we are in court. We are in the highest levels of court, and I'm initiated with each and every one of you world leaders. If you say you're a world leader, why in hell would you ever do a nuclear bomb or war? Why would you ever do these MK Ultra programs? Why would you ever do Stargate programs where none of these people have ever sat at the table with you and had a discussion, nor have you got their signatures of permission, nor have they ever given you permission to do POAs or have other people handle them or have other people move them, sell them, bid them, bet them, and trade them, nor have you ever told them that you would do one test or one spell on them. However, is this an act of a leader? Silence in the courtroom, guilty as charged, the gavel has fallen. That's my ranking. Do you see how efficient we can be? Do you see how efficient we can be? Why? Because I give a crap about every piece of life on this planet. Even if you're confused and even if you don't know who you are and even if you choose not to heal.
I disclosed pure information. If you keep doing what you're doing, your brain is going to go absolutely where it's not, shouldn't go. But you're choosing to play dark. Therefore, thus then, you have all the information to make your choices a little bit wiser now. And you're getting involved with the darkest ass people on the planet. So where do you think where do you think you're going to end up? And no, you're not going to come back and we're not going to play together. And I keep saying the same thing. So why do Calgary keep coming at me? Don't come at me, Calgary. Stay where you stay. Sit in your karma. You want to make things right, you need to send the letters with the monies. You need to send the letters with your confessions. You need to send the letters with the authority. Come to me. We're not friends. We're not buddies. We're not pals ever. Sit in your silence. Sit by yourselves. Sit with God and get healed. That's what you all need to do. You need to get out of these covens. You need to get out of these cults. You need to get out of these government programs, and you need to get healed. Don't come to me. We're not friends. We will never be friends. You lost that right. Your 45th sacrifice. Governments, I ain't going to work with you. I wouldn't give an ounce of my time to work with people like this that use and abuse innocent people for programs of weaponization and demoralization and degradation. And you tell me anybody right now, anything that I have said today, does it sound crazy? Everything that I have said is unfolding right now, 100% pure of my predictions, because their source is predictions. It is happening right now, and it is unfolding right now. We are in court. That is my authority. I am the higher order. We've been telling people for 3 years to stop doing the black magic and stop interfering with people's plots and life and plans and lanes. Get out of people's energy. Don't do destiny swapping. You think you're doing it and you think you're getting something out of it. You won't. You will fail every time. Your gifts and your skills as a practitioner will be stripped from you. You don't have a right. There's a no tolerance. And if that bothers you, that means you're too much in ego, and that means you're wounded. Because all you care about is your malevolent getting and taking and having, and you're clout chasing and seeing yourself higher than you are because you're not ranked. If you are harming another person for your benefit, you are not ranked. You will never be a spiritual guide. You're a dark practitioner, and you're hurting and you're harming people, and you don't have a right. Therefore, thus then, how can you ever ask yourself to be online and take money for hurting people and interfering with people's soul's destiny? And you think that that's a thing? Okay, so keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to keep getting karma, and you will be moved. Because at some point you have to grow up. You will have to face the damage that you did to the person that you chose to harm intentionally, that did nothing to you but give you absolute truth. But because you see light in this person, because you want this person in your story, even though she said, no, I don't want to be in your story, you don't have a fucking right. I know who I am. I'm sovereign. I don't give a fuck about what you think or believe. I don't give a fuck about what you care about now. I don't give a crap now that you're now awake. I don't care. I don't want to play with you. I don't want to play in your playground. I don't want to play with people like you. I don't want to play with you. If you're not hearing the first time that I say no, that means you're not respecting me. You're not respecting my soul's blueprint. I don't want to play with you. And if you're not respecting it, that means that you don't respect me. That means it's just going to go in another cycle of karma. I'm not going to do another cycle of karma. I said I rebuke you. I said I rebuke you, and I rebuke you, and I rebuke you, and I rebuke you, and I rebuke you. Because I'm not playing those karmic games. You will not have me. You will not dominate me. You will not handle me. You will not control me. I am of the highest orders of the heavens, and this is the last time that a master like me will be on this planet. Will humanity and will the leaders of this planet wake up? It is not rocket science, and you have all been egregious, and you have been hiding your corruption, and humanity has allowed it and ignored it and turned a blind eye. Secret society corruption and secret society dark occult crimes are going on in every city. And Spirit gave me a number. What was that number, Spirit? Over 200,000. Over 200,000 children and youth are being affected by dark occult crimes and such that I've been talking about every week in North America. And many of these go undisclosed and untallied. That includes the trafficking, 200,000 a week in North America alone. So I'm asking you one more time. Anybody that thinks themselves as a leader or an official, and you've been involved in any of these things we've been talking about, and you know that you have, because you're the ones that follow, you're the ones that stalk and spy and hack, you're the ones that have been doing what you're doing absolutely illegal with no rights. You don't have a right. You don't have a right to do what you have done. And you have to make penance, and you have to have some sort of repentance or redemption, reunion with who you are as a conscience, with who you are and who you become disconnected with. You're disconnected with your DNA, you're disconnected with spirit. You're not going to have any of these activations, and you will stay in the lower realms, and that's where you'll be shifted off to, is the Epstein earth. Everything is everything. Natural order is everything. If there's no natural flow of light, there's no natural flow of allowance. If there's no natural flow of acceptance, or no natural flow of forgiveness, all of these beautiful things that natural flow to just bring on light, to honor your soul fragments, is to heal them, is to bring them in, is to unify them, is to remember them, to know that you're godly, to know that you're this, to know that you're that. Honor those soul fragments, honor those shadows. But you don't have a right to continually abuse, manipulate, force. If somebody says no, it means no. It means go away and heal. Stop coming at the people that say no. The business is finished. Legally divorced. That means we're finished. It's legally divorced. We're finished. I have nothing to say to anybody from Calgary. The damage has been done. And I healed it. I keep telling you, leave me alone. Stop coming at me. We will never bake cookies together. I'm not going to heal you. I'm not going to protect you. I'm not going to say anything on your behalf in court. You chose your path. You chose your outcome. Leave me alone. You will be stopped. We are not even on the same timeline. I was sent to you as a mirror reflection of light. I will trigger you. I will trigger you on every way that you're not standing in it. You're not being in it. I trigger you, so heal your triggers. I am not your issue, and you will not have me. You will not have me as yours. I'm not your forever person. We're not anything. We never have been. These are your delusions. These are your stories. These are what you're telling yourself, because life was so easy when you were harvesting and you were manifesting and you were taking my light for free. And I was left with nothing. I was left for dead. And you all took my money. You all took my ideas. You all copied my content. You pilfered my videos. YouTube, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue everybody involved, all of the 50. I'm going to sue the 3 people, the 3 businesses, the 3 organizations, the 3 churches, the 3 networks, whoever you are that are silencing me. Every person that has paid money to have me taken out, to have me missed, to have me forget my memory, everything that has been done up to 1,700 times or more. Everybody is equally guilty. I've just shown you examples of how equally guilty everybody is. You all sat in your kitchen meetings, you all took your bribes, you all took the easy way out, you manipulated paperwork, you all manipulated POAs, you all manipulated this, you manipulated that, and who ends up dealing with it? How many lies and how many manipulations and how much black magic do I have to manifest and transmute every new moon and every full moon? How many hexes and curses do I have to manifest and I have to transmute as I'm sitting here doing my ascension teaching on the line every day live stream? Every part of my life has been affected by ignorant, malevolent agendas where there was no legal right on any level. We are in court and everybody is found guilty. Nobody had an ounce of right. I am a higher vibrational, higher intelligent being, and just because I see and know and live in a way that is beyond your consciousness doesn't make me right or wrong or indifferent. It makes me unique. And I get to, and I will, and I am. And I will prove it in any way that anybody comes towards me to say that their malevolent program, be it nuclear bomb, be it underwater testing, be it chemicals in the air, be it trafficking children, be it conjuring demons, be it taking out vulnerable people in your MK Ultra programs. I will sit with you in court in the highest courts of law. I will sit with you in the highest courts of the US law. I will sit with the higher courts of government law. I will sit with the highest courts in the Canadian law. I will sit with you in court and I will draw out the infinity with you. And we will go through every thought, word, and deed. And then we will have Anubis weigh your heart. We will have Anubis weigh your soul. And we will say to you then, how important is your soul's evolution and what fate have you nailed for your children? Are we checking out how seriousness we're at right now, humanity, with our soul's evolution? And are you going to get up and have some fun now and start healing? Because I've offered to you in infinite number of ways for infinite number of years now. The importance on our planet right now is spiritual evolution. Because church and state is not doing it. Church and state will not save you. Church and state will not come to you and show you. Church and state has shown that to you. There are agendas and there have been things going on and nobody has been accountable. Not one person has been accountable for what they have done. Therefore, thus then, are these leaders. What, where, and who are you giving your power to and why? Who are you every day? What do you exist within and what exists within you? Stop giving your power away to anybody outside of you. You don't need to give your power away to anybody. We've proven to you in every one of our videos, everything is within you. Your powers are within. Anything that you want to achieve in the natural order of just allowing your soul to unfold, there is never a fast pill. There's never a fast track. If you want attention and glorification so much so, you have no sense of self, and you need to give yourself the love that you try and seek from other people, and why people go to debaucherous programs of the underground, and why people go to the black web. Because they're looking for the attention, they're looking for the belonging, they're looking for the fulfillment, they're looking for connection. And they're the ones that have chosen to disconnect from spirit. If you are connected with spirit, if you are connected with your higher self, if you are connected with love, if you are connected with self-care, if you are connected with self-honor and self-design and all the things that we talk about, then you would never go outside and do what has been done. And this is why my case of discrimination, my case of abuse of human rights on every level, over 17 counts of abuse and federal crimes, criminal crimes, human rights crimes that go against everything that is a liberty to even be on a planet and walk safely. There has been zero respect or regard for my liberties on every level. And every level of human experience has been involved in it to suppress, to keep me numb and dumb, to keep me forgetting, to keep me obstacled, to keep me derailed and delayed and in poverty, and that I will hopefully never get up, because it would make it so easy for all these cults and covens to get the money that they thought was theirs and they were entitled to, but they're not. They never were. How could you be entitled to something you didn't earn? You didn't earn it. Who are you? You're a very wounded person. You're a vampire. You like to take and steal and rape from people and call it yours. And you've been involved with people that do mental manipulation, mental conjuring, mental voodooing, and you've warped your brain so much so. Each and every one of you need to get assessed. You need to get assessed for mental awareness, mental acuity, and your decision-making skills, because it's a dangerous, dangerous part that you're playing. If you continue allow yourself to be involved with people that do voodoo and mental manipulation, where you're not knowing you are in any moment, where you're confused about the choices you're making, you're confused about who you are and where you're sitting, and you're confused about the next steps you're going to take, and you're confused about right and wrong. And if you're confused about right or wrong, then you know that there's manipulation going on and there's magic going on. And then you have to ask yourself, where do you want to be and who are you? And are you around the right people? And you need to cleanse them from your energy. You need to start doing the energies that I've been teaching. Any government program of any kind, these things, you don't have permission. You've never had signatures from me on any level in any way. When I turned 18, all of these stalking, obsessing, watching, studying, human experimenting, human attacking, human Hunger Games should have stopped. Whatever my parents signed, you had rights to until I was 18. Other than that, no person, no cult, no agenda. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you think you are entitled to me, you are not. We are not family. We are not. We have never been family. So any of these people that claim to have entitlement with me, I've never spoken with you. I live my life in complete and utter hermit. Nobody talks to me. Nobody calls me. Nobody cares. They only care because they know that there's monies that are somewhere for me and they have been living off them. And they're going to call and they're going to pretend and they're going to make paperwork and they're going to falsify and they're going to make signatures and they're going to lie and they're going to do PPP loans. They're going to do all these things that they're going to do as much as they can to get as much as they can out of me. They don't give a fuck about anybody but themselves. They are warped, they are twisted, they're mentally degraded, they're working from their demons, their demon and their entities are eating them alive from the inside out. Because they've chosen a debaucherous life of not caring for themselves and not having a sense of self. If you have no sense of self, if you don't practice what I teach, and other things that are like this, mine is not the only answer. I'm saying, in your disconnection, it is very dangerous when you're going into black and dark occult and voodooism. You are absolutely sealing your fate of mental degradation. And then for those that are involved in other government projects, and I've said to you numerous times, those people that have been involved in the cults and the covens, you need to go to the authorities and you need to say who are the top dogs directing the hits, because they will not have your back. And if you need care because you're going into mental degradation, you need to make sure that that care is going to be given to you, because they won't have your backs. The governments will be accountable for every human program that they have been involved in. And you will give care for those that have needed, that you've pulled in, and you knew you pulled in because you paid them. Whether you paid them to come and jack off beside me in their car, whether you paid them to come and stalk me, you paid them. And you will be accountable because you didn't have a legal right to pay them. You don't have a legal right to stalk me. I'm a healer, I'm a leader, and I'm showing you in the world of courts, the spiritual courts are in order, and all of you are guilty. I have been a healer, I will always be a healer, and I'm a leader on this planet. I'm showing you new world leadership. Thought, word, and deed do the infinity, and you will find yourself. Where do you sit on the scales? Are you balanced? Do unto others. Is that a balanced play? Or are you being malevolent in your deeds and your actions and your thoughts and your deeds and your playment on this planet? How do you play? Courts in session, dear lighted ones. It matters how you play, and I'm calling you out. From here on out, dear lighted ones, if you choose to be a practitioner, be very careful and be very sure. And if you don't know universal laws, you should not be a practitioner. Unless you choose to go to Epstein Earth, then by all means, go for it. Because you will be shifted, you will be moved. And so we're just talking about, because that's the dangers of mental degradation, and many of the healers that have been with me for many, many years, you're going to have to be in discernment of the things we've been talking about globally, because we will need healers to work with investigators of Interpol, the ones that are on the right side of justice, the ones that actually do want to get to the bottom of secret societies and secret cults, abuses, and crimes. And as we said, Spirit did give me a number yesterday or the day before, 200,000 in North America alone. Every week are being affected. And so we have to understand, light, wisdom, education is needed immediately. Understanding ascension and the cycles of ascension and how light affects everything, we need to understand that immediately. We need to look at how we are honoring and not honoring in the input of chemicals in our air, and how do we take a lighter step that is responsible. It's not in battery-operated cars because you're still having to use electricity. What will be in the future for our cars in the imprint will be magnetics and solar. It's not going to be gas, or it's not going to be gas and electric. Electric is the same thing as gas, it's just using a different form of resource. We're still pulling those things from Gaia. We have to look at the magnetics. The magnetics are a natural part of the quantum energy of any planet, any galaxy. It's a free energy. Magnetics are free energy. Just use the magnetics in a benevolent way, and so is the solar energy. Stop putting chemicals in the air. We just need higher vibrational information. The higher consciousness we are, the higher operating our planet will be. And therefore, then the planet will operate and level itself out. Go watch Cryon's videos on this. It's very important that you do. The ice caps melting, chemicals in the air and chemtrails, Gaia's wobble, and her movement through all of her time through ascension from her very first year of existence. Cryon has talked about it. There are trends and there are patterns that a planet goes through in her evolution of consciousness. She is a conscious being. She has 8 billion people that are going through a consciousness shift. There will be patterns of change. And again, if you are a world leader, you will not be able to call yourself a leader if you are doing, creating, and involved with agendas of nuclear warheads in any way, whether it's in the waters or in the air or above the atmosphere. You just are not, and you will not have success, and they will fail. Calling judgment on these people that think they are leaders, but they put billions of dollars towards nuclear testing and warheads because they want to be in competition and stay breast to breast to any of the other world leaders. There will not be nuclear wars on our planet, period, point blank. We will be higher consciousness. You are not leaders. You're being asked to leave my playground. We're in court. And why those of us that are untrained in higher consciousness, those are us that are untrained on knowing how to call judgment, knowing how to call justice, we will call justice when it's needed. I will go through each and every one of you. You bring me your nuclear warhead plan, and we'll do the infinity on everything that you bring me. And we will see where you sit. And then you leave that meeting and you decide, are you a world leader? Do you really want to continue? Because you will be put on judgment. Every world leader will be put on judgment. This is a planet that requires our care, our presence, our consciousness, our heart alignment, and this world needs better role models, and you're not it. I will call you out, and we will go in a court of session because that's my job. I will bring each and every one of you to the highest spiritual court, and you will have the higher spiritual beings behind you. And I will ask you the questions that the spiritual courts will ask you in your spirit, in your higher self, and in your soul, that they ask you and they ask your guides. The spiritual courts are now being brought down to humanity. And we will go through sessions like this so that we can see in our everyday, we have been conformed and we have been normalized to such abuses, and it's not okay. There's agendas and programs going on without signatures, without permissions, without anybody's legal rights. There are people, cults, and covens that have nothing to do with anybody, that person, they have nothing to do with me. I've never met these people, don't even know who these people are, and yet they're living off of my money, and they're doing everything they can in court to make sure that I never get a penny of what is legally mine. That what has always been mine, I should have already been having those monies in my presence, that I could have been putting towards humanity and the healing programs that I have. Have I been doing that? Have I been putting all that I am towards humanity? I've been fighting for my life. I've been fighting for my rights. I've been derailed. I've been obstacle left, right, and center. I have been absolutely inefficiently used, and God said that is enough. These have been the most egregious, these have been the most immature, these have been the most disgusting, vile experiences of trying to enslave a divine master healer that is here for all creation. And it's blatant. I show it to you every video. This is where we are seeing and we are waking up. Our consciousness has been so low. Are you ready to wake up now? Because it is required. It is required for humanity to wake up. Everything is energy. If you're not connected with spirit, then it will be a negative energy experience. If you don't understand spirit, we practiced it in our videos about breath, calling spirit in, calling your higher self in. You have teams and guides that work with you, teams and guides and healing teams, and you're on light ships every time you go to sleep at night, and you're remembering why you're here. You're pulling out remembrances of your soul blueprint. Why do you have a soul blueprint? Why do you have 50% of karma? Why does it matter working on divine feminine masculine energies? Because you want to be balanced. You want to know that you can move from a receiving energy to a giving energy to an action energy. You want to know that you can alchemize air, fire, water, earth, all of these things that we are meant to be masters in our working of our energy, our churning of our energy, our alchemizing of our energy, so that we never ever operate in these types of experiences. It's unnecessary, it's destructive, and there is only one outcome. And I give you very easy things to do so that you just show yourself every day. Do the infinity on every thought, word, and deed, and you will see where you will sit. I will take you through spiritual court. The outcome will be the Gavath hath fallen. And everybody will have to sit where they sit because they have been told so many times. If you choose not to come forward with the highest level of benevolence, meaning that you know what you did and the harm that you caused, one person that did nothing except bring light and bring healing and bring light codes as a starseed. If you do not know that the pain you have caused, the suffering you have caused, the PTSD that you have caused, the isolation from her children, the isolation from her work, the damages from her work, the zero platform and zero growth from her work, zero being seen in the collective that has been affected because the collective did not get light healings, the light collective doesn't have that light knowing, anybody that's going through a mental degradation but they're in a cult doing black voodoo, all of these things that are going to benefit the collective and nothing is getting out there. And then I ask you one more time, why are you calling yourself a leader? You don't care about what's going on in humanity. So we have to wake up. Light wisdom is the only wisdom that is intelligent. Light can expand in any direction, in any dimension, and it is linked to your higher self. Your higher self is linked to all 13 dimensions. Your higher self is your highest level of efficiency, natural order. All you have to do is surrender to your higher self every day. There is no forcing, there is no making. There is no have to having. It is natural order of just surrender. Your higher self knows what it's doing. Heed spirit. If you choose to play the negative game and conjure negative entities, then you deserve where you sit. Don't ever think that you can keep forcing somebody to come and play with you when they said no 100 times. I know who I am. I know exactly when I said no, why I said no, and how come I said no, and I've said no every day for the last 8 years. I don't want to be with anybody in Calgary ever again, in any way. None of them are my family. You cannot play sacrifice, you cannot play fraud and theft and raping and harvesting of my energy and of my work, and then come and ask me to be your friend and help you out in court and help you out for a place to live and help you out with food and help you out with this and that. We're not. It wasn't just one lie. It wasn't just $1 or $10 stolen. It was an absolute relentless, obsessive, every day taking me out. And there were many people involved, and that is where your judgment is today. And the spiritual courts have spoken, you're guilty. And so, therefore, let the karma unfold. Let the karma unfold. I still haven't been given a penny from anybody. There's been nothing returned to me, and I know there's monies coming forward because God has had to come in and put the hand of God in on everything. And there will be changes because the hand of God is the hand of God. So we did we had some channels. Sequencing, we're going to talk about sequencing. Sequencing of events in this very important time of ascension. So these are today's channels. Pardon me. Thank you for clearing that, Holy Spirit. I've got some burpages. Some burpages. Oh my gosh. Thank you for allowing me to have that visualization of the spiritual courts, Holy Spirit. I'm thanking you. So sometimes when I'm in these channeling offerings, they just offer me these experiences where they're giving me more authority, where I can give you guys an example of what the spiritual courts look like. And we're bringing in the higher selves and the spirit energy beings and all of the beings that walk with us and walk with me, the heavenly councils and the federations and the spiritual courts. And in court, those are the things that are being looked at. And are you making daily effort to change and alter and heal? That's all the heavens want to see. Are you making daily effort to heal? Are you making daily effort to bring redemption? Are you bringing healing and are you bringing healing and peace to those that you've hurt? And if this person says, I want the monies returned, we're not friends, and then let's cut it off and leave it at that. Because there is no repair. There's no repair on trying to kill somebody. There's no repair on trying to take them out. There's no repair on trying to take over their business and call their business yours. There's no repair on saying that somebody's crazy and somebody doesn't have the right to their own money. There's no repair to that. Everybody's forgiven. You made a lot of grave mistakes. You had no idea, you had no right to do falsification of energy or information on my state of health. You don't even know me. I've never even met you. You're filing these claims of insurance and inheritance, and nobody has the right to put my name on anything. I have been a sovereign being for 8 years. I moved away 6 years ago. I've been divorced legally for a year. I don't have anything to do with anybody. I've been celibate for 15. I know what goes on in my body. I'm a genius. Stop trying to pull me into your BS because you want my money. That's all it is. You want my money, you want my gifts, you want my inheritance. You ain't getting it. You're going to sit in your karma. You have to sit in your karma. The governments, the agendas, the MK Ultras, the Project Stargates, everybody will sit in their karma. You have to sit and know the damages you did to one person. And the only reason why I'm here, the only reason why I'm here, and only God knows, the only reason why I'm here, and it will be written about in my books, the hand of God brought me back 4 times. 4 times I said, take me out, I don't want to be here. This planet doesn't deserve me. I cannot do this anymore. There's many planets, there's many programs, there's many councils in the multiverse that would bow when I walk in the door of the light temples and the teaching and the light ships, and they bow because of who I am and what I offer, devotionally, unconditionally, and freely. And yet on earth, because of its misogyny, on earth because of its bigotry, on earth because of its old boys school, all of these things had to be transcended. I agreed that was part of my contract. I agreed to be the divine feminine, to come and face the most egregious people, mostly men, that don't have any idea about their balancing of their energies and why they go into debauchery and why they go into what they go into, because they're wounded. They need to heal. And the women that allow it, and the women that go into these incestuous cults and covens and harems, and many, many wivesomes. And the children are walking around going, who the hell am I? because the children are not being cared for. They're being neglected on every level. Children in black magic homes, children in voodoo homes, you're throwing black magic and conjuring and deity into these homes, and these children are not knowing who they are as spirit. It is neglect. And then they're being lured into vulnerable situations. It's neglect. If you're trying to take out the mother that has the only light that these crystalline children need, it is dangerous. And you're not only affecting my soul blueprint along with everybody in the multiverse, because that's who I'm connected with, you're affecting the children that need her light. Because they're activated. When I have a DNA activation, my children are activated from my DNA activation. And nobody has a right to touch any child. And all of these agendas, that's all they cared about. They don't care about the repercussions. They don't care about anything that I say. They only want what they want. They want to swap destinies. They want to swap because they want to get out of their karma. They want to swap because they're takers, selfish takers. They're not working in their highest. They're working from the demons. And this is how you know. The authorities and the policing and the cities and the counselors and the world leaders, they know that they have been keeping ascension teachings and light wisdom teachings from the public. And so now you're at an emergency state. When you get to this state and you have suppressed teachings, you have suppressed truths, the church and state, you are responsible. You have been keeping wisdom teachings and light teachings and higher vibrational teachings from the collective. You have been keeping it from the people, and now you are at an emergency state. You will be held responsible. You cannot keep the light in a box. We will continue to ascend, and we need higher vibrational wisdoms and consciousness because we will grow in our consciousness. The consciousness has to keep up. It cannot keep up through malevolent programs of Hunger Games, of elite soul harvesting, of elite trafficking and targeting and human taking out and studying to see which ones are light seeds and which ones are star seeds and which ones are indigos and who can they take from now. It's egregious on all levels. It is trafficking to the very grossest degrees. And everybody is accountable. And I will take you through spiritual court, each and every one of you, if I have to. That is my authority, and I will be it. 54 years of my life was messed with. It's going to be made right. So 54 years is the karma that each and every one of you have. And each and every one of you have refused to say that I am even worthy of getting anything right now. You still think I should be in more karma because you don't think I should be receiving the blessings God's going to give me. Who made you God? How is it that you can decide that when you've done all the egregious acts and you're not sitting in connection with spirit, you're not sitting in connection with the water, you're not sitting in connection with the air because all you care about is getting out of your karma? And again, draw out the infinity. Everything that you have done is on the negative side because you don't know who you are and you're wounded. And your soul needs a lot of love and help and healing. There's no way you should ever speak a word on anybody else's soul when your soul is so very dark. Nobody in creation will ever decide what a soul is worthy of, what a soul is blessed with, what a soul is deserving of. I've been here close to 1,000 times and I'm going to receive, I will receive, I will receive, I will receive. I will be loved. I will have a new soulmate, a soulmate that won't do magic on me, a soulmate that won't try and take me out, a soulmate that won't do hexes and spells on me, a soulmate that won't do sacrifices on me, and a soulmate that will just love me just because I want to be loved. And I will love them devotedly, and I will bow to that man. I will have a loving soulmate that won't do magic, that will lift me up, and we will manifest miracles on this planet because God has ordained us. Everybody from Calgary, I thank you so much for allowing me to become the master that I am. Please go and heal. Do not come at me. Do not try and talk to me. Do not try and pick up the phone. Do not try and come and see me. Each and every one of you know every one of your efforts will be blocked and you will be stopped. Protection orders and restraining orders. I don't have anything to say to any of you. There has been no contact. There has been nothing going on. We're not going to meet anywhere. We don't talk by phone. We don't talk by email other than where's my money? You know what you've done wrong. I want my money back. I'm hungry. You know what you've done. Return it. Period. And let God deal with your karma. Go to God. Deal with it. Take your stories to the authorities. Tell them who has been directing you and who has been paying you. Speak your truth on secret society abuses. That's how you clear where you're at. Start clearing away the mud and the mess that you chose to sit in. You chose to scheme, you chose to plot, you chose to lie, you chose to manipulate. Go to the authorities and start clearing it up. That's how you clear up your life. That's how you make your life simple. You make your life simple by being simple. Truth is the only way. If you continue to lie, you're going to be continued in mess. It's your choice. Lies create mess, lies create darkness. You choose. Light clears things up, light creates simplicity, light creates transparency, light creates clearing and healing. So you choose. Again, why aren't my teachings out on the planet? The consciousness is so low. The only way to raise it is through light intelligence. Sequencing of events are very key at this time. They are the cues and the clues of what and how and whom and what is coming at you and why. There are threadings that are given to you in your manifestation, in your vortex, if you will, all the things you've been manifesting since you've been here. You've been a manifesting vortex, pulsating energy since your very first breath. You're always constantly manifesting. Now the idea is what energy and what vibration are you manifesting? If you're balanced, if you're honoring, if you're being appreciative, if you're valuing, if you're honoring who you are and what you exist with and what's going on within you, then you're going to be offering a very balanced, excited experience. Wow, I really like to be here. I get my energy now. I get why I'm manifesting things. And you get to work things out as you go. That's why it's so important. Balance is the number 2 law. And if you are balanced, then you're going to manifest things that are balanced coming at you. But Spirit was saying there's going to be, in this next little while, especially for the summer, there's going to be a sequencing of events that you're going to notice. You're going to see the correlation between why your things are manifesting the way they have and what they're manifesting, because there's going to be lots of gateways, and these gateways will determine how you're going to navigate that next series of ascension energy. So it takes that you have choice. It takes that you have intention. What are your intentions? What do you want to create? So every day, as I say, in your morning and at your night, start sitting down and say, what is my intention? Where do I want to go with that energy? Where do I want to drive that energy? Where do I want to move that energy? And it has nothing, again, when we say that, we mean, what are you going to create for yourself? Do you want to create a beautiful garden for people to visit and do healing at? That's where I say move in the energy. That's where being an alchemist. When I do my threading and I work with the energy and I work with the fields, I work with it in the natural order way. I don't force other people in my story. I don't force other people's narratives. I don't force outcomes. I just say, I'd like to move this energy this way. If I feel some dark energy, I'm going to move it with light this way. So this is how I work with my energy in the natural order of energy on the planet. There's never, ever a forcing. But we're saying, where's the intention? When I say it, so it's where the intention. You're not forcing it. Where's the intention in your direction? We want you to be like this beautiful zephyr that moves through the energies very fluidically and very gently and very softly. It's like a dance. And you're dancing with the energies. And when you have an obstacle come up, how can you navigate in and around it? You know, if there's an obstacle that comes up and this person wants you to be a part of the story, but you don't, you're saying, absolutely not. Thank you so much for the lessons. You're all forgiven. I'm going to move my way now. And I've told you about 900 times, this has to stop. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of your time. Everybody needs to go away and get healed. I can't keep saying the same things. There's no business between us. You all know what you've done. 1,600 or so lies and crimes. You have to go away and you have to heal. It's going to take everybody 5 years to be by themselves, to be with God and go heal. Don't come to me. How could anybody in the audacity of what's been done, how could anybody say, let's be friends, let's, no. Are you kidding me? I was left for pretty much dead. Sacrifices on me every full moon. We're not friends. These aren't things that friends do. We're not family. You don't plot and plan on somebody's life. You don't put their names on insurances. You don't do these things. I'm ascended. I'm ascended. You need to go away and heal, and you need to take accountability and sit in your karma. Sit in it and be the teacher of others coming behind you. You're going to be a great teacher for those that come behind you. If you choose to get out of the cults and covens and stop the dark magic and start the manipulation, stop the debauchery. Clean up your energy. Clean it up. I will not fix any of your energies. I'm not protecting any of you. God has removed you from me. There is no co-creation. Thank you for the lessons. Now there's going to be sequencing, because these sequences allows you to start navigating into new ways, that you want to take a new path, right? You don't want to keep going down the karmic path. Karmic timelines are over. Have we not got it yet? We've said it 18 billion times. We have to say it a little bit more poignantly. It's over. There was never anything there. There was never intention. There was never offering. There was never invitation. And that goes for the governments. The governments, I never invited you into my life. I never invited a program or an agenda for you to study me, stalk me, watch me, and hack me, and take all my money and have minions paid to take me out. I didn't invite this. So do right. I want the letters of apologies. I want the monies put back in my account. It was never yours to touch. These people that claim they're my family, they're not. I don't know any of these people. They're not my family. You don't take out your family. You don't take them out and you don't kill them. You don't want them dead. You don't put them on insurance papers. You don't have funerals for them when they're not dead. You don't put them under POAs when they haven't even had a discussion with you. You don't even know me. You've never met me before. They're criminals. They're nothing but criminals. These are the things that are going on in every city. And all of the city leaders and all of the world leaders, this has to be studied and this has to be researched at a global level because these are networks at a global level. And who's paying them? Who are the top dogs paying these secret societies? That's where the weed is pulled. Pull that weed. We're going to spiritual court. That's why God calls on me. Because of the law of attraction, right? You're always manifesting. What are the energies that you're manifesting? Again, state your truth. Who are you? Intention, direction, and focus. That's the reality that you're creating. And again, I'm showing you through my own specific stories when to say no and when to cut off the cords and when to surrender it to God. I had to surrender all of these things to God because these people were relentless and they were not letting my energy go. So I said to Spirit, I can't do anything because everything that's happening on the other ethers and in the astral realms and in the other dimensions, in the other realms, because there's a lot of soul ties in a lot of these energies, and they knew that. So they were manipulating energy to do that. They were manipulating sex magic and glamour magic, all these things because they knew there was other timelines involved. My job was just to be here and pull them out and bait them, to have them pull them out on their energies and their behaviors and because they've hurt a lot of people through their manipulations and through their dog occult plans. We're doing this because it's a global wake-up call. We have to wake up as a globe. The dangers and what truly happens when you're not aware of what you're doing and you're conjuring and you're using black magic dangerously, and it does affect all that you are as a physical, mentally, emotional being, and you're affecting the children around you. If you're not calling judgment, if you're not knowing how to work with your energies, if you're not knowing how to heal, if you're not reclaiming your energy, you're not reclaiming your power, anything that you manifest in your reality is going to be this mess. It's going to be lies, manipulation, magic, and conjuring, and forcing, and making, and blah, blah, blah. That's not natural order. That's lack. Total lack, fear, and control and domination. That's lower vibrations. So be there, but you're not going to force anybody to come with you. The hand of God came down. The hand of God is shifting everything right now. That's why they said there is sequencing of events. Those of you that have been on your path, that have been doing the work, there's going to be sequencing of events because inside your inner heart, inside the divine being that you know, it's time for us to move in a new propulsion. I can never say that right. I can never say that word right. Propulsion, propelling. So that's a push forward. That's a quantum mechanic. It's a mechanic. It's the way that energy moves, right? It's not a repulsion. It's a propulsion. And so that energy is going to be moving you forward, but the sequencing of events gives you, and this is where God wanted me to state today, because God loves you so very much, there is always going to be the sequencing of events that will be determined from your choice, your free will, right? So this is where every cycle of ascension, you'll always know through aptitude and capacity, you're practicing your A's, you're practicing your E's, you're always going to be given in this new cycle, new tests. You're going to be given those energies that you had to test yourself in. Can you stand up for yourself? Can you stand up for the voices of the forgotten? Can you stand up for what you're here to create? Can you do what you've been practicing? Can you say no to those that need to say no? Can you show them that you're not going to help them this time? They have to find their way out. So that was a test for me. No, I'm not going to help you. You have to find your way out. I'm letting everybody know through my life story, through my life path, there are certain things that you need to put boundaries on. You need to absolutely set rules of engagement because you can't keep doing this with people that keep wanting you to come back to karmic patterns when you've said no 1,800 times. You're now impeding my progress. You're now impeding my energy, and you know you are because I keep telling you are. I keep saying no, stay away. I keep saying block you. I keep having to clear my energy field every day because of the magic. The come hither spells and the sex spells. I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to live like this. This is human abuse on every level. But there's certain people that refuse to work with energy in a positive way. So I'm showing everybody, and this will have to be shown to every child that's coming out of trafficking, because they'll have to be cleared of their entities. They'll have to be cleared of all the stuff that has been done to them, and they're going to have to learn how to heal and reclaim their sense of self. Anybody that's been sexually abused or molested or enslaved mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, which is usually in cults and covens, because you're giving your power away to somebody that thinks they know better than you, and they don't. Never give your power away. So there has to be that sequencing of events because God is giving you that ultimate source. Where is your free will taking you? But you will be tested. Saying no to those that think they have entitlement. Saying no to those that say they're family, but they're absolutely not. They're the ones with the guns behind the door. They're the ones that have been filling out all the insurance forms. They're the ones that have been stealing while you're sitting with absolutely nothing, crying every day and not eating. That's abuse. It's absolutely abhorrent abuse. It's enslavement. It's disgusting. And this is where the audacity. I don't understand anybody that want to say, hey, you want to come work with us? No. Are you kidding me? I barely survived. No, thank you. There will never be another timeline in the multiverse where I will ever come and work with you. I've said that as my spiritual contract to Mother, Father, God. I will never have another contract with any of these people. I will go forward and I will create with new energies. I knew that I was a bait. I knew that I had a big mission. I did my job, and God's very happy and proud of me. The only reason why I'm here is because of the hand of God and what I teach in the Alliance with Light. If you are aligned with light, if you do these simple little things that I'm showing and I'm offering freely because of my experience, because of my mastery, because of who I am as a teacher and a healer and a conduit and a vibration speaker, all of these things I'm giving to you freely. So it's up to each and every one of you, who are you? And do the daily work. If you're not doing the work, then find another channel. I mean, it's okay that you come on here to listen, and it's okay that you're being benevolent and you're being respectful. I like that. Thank you very much. Thank you for being respectful, because at least I have people that are respectful now online. So thank you. I'm leveling up. And share our videos to those that truly want to know and honor how to manifest in a new higher vibrational energy and know how to set boundaries, set rules of engagement with those beings that absolutely need to have those rules and boundaries set. I don't owe anybody. I'm a self-made being. I don't owe anybody. I don't care whether they say they're my fan. I don't care about their story. I'm not bowing to anybody's story. I don't care about your confessions. I don't care about your truths. I don't care about what you're waking up to. I don't care. I said that in my last video. I am who I am because I've healed. I carried the 1,700 spells. I carried the 1,600 hexes. I carried the 50 sacrifices. I carried the rituals and the blood voodoo and all the bullshit. I carried it. I transmuted it. Nobody would ever have done what I did in transmutation. Nobody would have ever climbed out of what I climbed out of. Nobody would have survived, and nobody has survived what I went through. Nobody. The only reason why I'm here is because God said, we have a mission, we have a plan, and we are going to lift you. And the 4 times that I was brought back to life, my teams had to rebuild me because the dark occult magic and the dark occult damage was too immense. My chakras were affected, my cells were affected, PTSD. I still have PTSD slightly. I still stutter slightly when I'm healing some of those darker emotions and the things that were done to me that were completely illegal, no permissions, no in any way. It was just pure enslavement and impalement and enforcement and danger. It was just absolutely enforced magic, so that they could get their way, so that they could keep raping my energy and harvesting my energy and taking my energy and pretending they were me because they had no sense of self. They're wounded. Humanity has to awaken to these psyche experiences. And when a person is not healing and they have mental degradation already and the agendas that are using them and the agendas that are paying them and what happens in real life. And if you're not doing as I'm offering, then it's going to be a very rough ride and some people might not make it. There's no reason why I should have survived. I shouldn't have. Groups of 50 doing magic on me on a relentless basis, selling my name in the black underground and see who's going to put a hex on me this time and who's going to try and take me out this time and who's going to come at me this time. I mean, it's like a 24-hour game show. It's completely fucked. How anybody can live like this is just completely fucked. It's like a game show. It makes no sense to me. Cults and covens sit around daily thinking how they can attack somebody next. It's a game, it's a Hunger Games show, and it needs to stop. And there will be shifting out. This is what they said about the sequencing. So when we know that there's big shifts on humanity, these abhorrent things have to stop. Human Hunger Games, human harvesting, whether it's organs, whether it's children's sex trafficking, these things are stopping and there is no tolerance. Every cult, every ring, every mafia ring that supports underground, black market, black web, BS, crime, corruption to our spirit, corruption to our planet, it is stopping and there is no tolerance. Find yourself and alter course. Get healed and alter course. If you choose to not alter course, then you will be shifted out with the Epstein earth and however God chooses to do that. That's why your sequencing is so important. Your sequencing determines your next step. Sequencing determines what's your timeline. Sequencing determines what's your health. Again, as we said in our last video, talk lovingly to your cells. Your cells are listening. The omnipresent is listening. I'm on my highest creative timeline. God, let's go. I'm on my highest creative timeline. God, let's go. Allow me to call in any being and any energy that's willing to play at a higher consciousness level. I'm going to set beautiful, healthy boundaries. I'm going to be loved and I'm going to be loving, and I'm going to be with people that absolutely will honor and love and care and respect and bow to me when I walk in the room as I bow to them. Because it's an equal, fair respect. And I will be paid equally, and I will be paid fairly because I'm priceless and I'm precious. Because that's what I'm setting for myself. I reclaim that power. Nobody's going to take it and harvest from me just because they want to have lots of parties. They're all in houses while I'm sitting homeless. How's that okay? It's my fucking energy. It's my work. You're copying my work. How's that okay? All these people over the world getting my benefit off my work, off my activations, off my wisdoms. These sessions alone, a 2-hour session, a 3-hour session, $500. You're all getting it for free. I teach you higher vibrational wisdoms for free. I teach you ascension classes for free. You're learning how to work as a higher vibrational being for free. So if you'd like to send in a donation, that would be really wonderful. This is just who I am. I'm passionate about this. This is godly. That's how you can tell. Every word I speak is a vibration of certainty. It's about knowing. It's about experience. It's about who I am as God. And if you don't know it, you're going to get caught up and think there's no way I should have survived. And thank God I did. Thank God for God. Thank God for God. Thank God for God. Thank God for all my teams. Thank God for my ancestors. Thank God for Gaia. Thank God for every single being in the unseen that loves me. Because ain't nobody had my back here on the human collective. I just thank God for the unseen. Thank God for my families in the unseen. Thank God for my celestials. Thank God for my ancestors. Thank God for my aliens. Thank God for my light ships. Thank God for my teams and my guides that surround me every day. Thank God for God. Thank God for God, because I wake up every day and I pray in gratitude. Thank you so much, God, for giving me this second chance at life, because I haven't known what it's like to be loved. I've never been loved on this planet. Besides my loyal clients, and you show me what true love is. My loyal clients, they show me what true love is. They will email me out of the blue and they'll tell me a beautiful story of their ascension, of their awakening, of their expansion. And they've shown up since the first day I went on KCO Air a long time ago. And we were meant to connect, and we were meant to thread Earth and Gaia and humanity into the 5th dimension. We are walking step in step, shoulder to shoulder. And you are heavenly. And the homeless people that I've met that made me feel so beautifully loved by buying me a coffee, the homeless people that just gave me $5 when that's probably all they had, and they just lovingly tossed it on the table like a little beautiful fairy that just rolled by. These are the moments that I love, because that makes this and what I do. If I get nothing all year round, that makes it, I just cry. I say, thank you, God, for that moment. Somebody did something really special for me. I feel loved. Thank you. Because everybody needs to feel loved. Every child that has not been heard, and yet they've been touched on and they've been sold and they've been put in bins and trafficked. We need to be better people, because this is not okay. Every child's body belongs to them and them unto themselves. Don't touch a child unless you are comforting them in good and benevolent ways. They are starseeds and they are angels, and they deserve to be on this planet with a pure, threaded, powerful voice and spirit and soul. And we need to remind everybody, allow your self-harmonization with your spirit and your soul every day in your higher self. It allows you the sequencing of what God will offer you next. God and your teams and your ancestors, everybody is here to bless you. This is the season of blessings, where you're actually going to start receiving the blessings that you have been working on for so very long. We are in the gates and we are in the garden. This is a beautiful garden and we're seeding it beautifully. The highest creative timeline is right now. We have been seeding a beautiful foundation that is built on love and honor and peace and unity and oneness. There is no need to attack anybody for you to get what you need. The universe is infinitely abundant. Stay out of everybody's lane. There is no need for abuse. And if you are not feeling well, if you are imbalanced, please get assessed. There's going to be healers and teachers and leaders on the planet that actually care about healing, teaching, and leading in the highest benevolent of ways. And all the other leaders that practice inhumane programs, MK Ultra, nuclear war, nuclear malevolence, step aside. Your time is up. That's not leadership. That is not the benevolence of the greater good. There will be no nuclear wars on this planet, not in my garden, not on my watch. And the legions will support it, and their detonations will be taken off and closed. because that's what celestials can do just within a blink, just within a breath. And you've wasted how many billions of the people's money that could have gone to giving the women and the children homes because they haven't eaten in 10 or 12 days in Gaza. They haven't eaten in 10 and 12 days in Yemen. They haven't eaten in 10 and 12 days in Sri Lanka. There's so much that we could be doing on this planet. We are socio-altruistic people now. We are humanitarians. Let's get busy. And it begins with love and peace and unity. Who are you? I love each and every one of you. I'm going to sign off. Namaste, dear lighted ones. Everything that is placed before you is your navigation into a new, divine, creative timeline. Welcome in, new tribe. Welcome in, new experiences. Welcome in, new creativity. Welcome in that you are the master of your domain. You are godly. Stand up and be counted. Stand up and be heard. Create, create, create. Absolutely embrace all of your human collective because they are showing you who you are as a powerful, masterful being of love and light. We love you, dear lighted ones. If you'd like to book a session, donate, share our channel, share our videos. Thank you so, 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 so much. Speak the truth. Speak out about secret society abuses and go to the authorities and say what you know for your own clearing of your own energy. Okay? Stand up and reclaim your power. Reclaim your godliness. Namaste, dear lighted ones. I love you so very much. Bye.